Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of The Rugged Edge presented by Getac. I'm Ann Plaza, marketing manager and your host today. I have a very special guest for this episode, Derek Suzuki, VP of Operations in North America. I invited him here in the vodcast to talk about something that doesn't always get the spotlight, but honestly makes a huge difference, and that is service and support. Especially in industries like utilities, where teams are out in the field and downtime isn't an option. What happens after you buy the device matters just as much as the tech itself. So today, we'll dig into what good support really looks like, how Getac does things differently, and what utility customers can expect when they work with us. Let's get started. Derek, welcome to The Rugged Edge. It's so nice to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'm curious, Derek, so how long have you been working with Getac?
I've been working for Getac, it'll be 16 years in September.
Wow. And prior to that, can you share us a little bit more about your professional background before you worked with Getac?
Sure. So prior to Getac, I used to work in customer service, technical support, service logistics, professional services as well. So pretty encompassing from beginning of the service event all the way to the end. Right.
So I would say you have a lot of experience with customer support, and you have sales background. So this is like the perfect guest for this topic for this podcast. So I wanted to first ask you, what makes service and support such a critical factor in the utilities in the U.S.?
Well, utilities in the U.S. is considered infrastructure to the country itself. So having product that is mission critical and having service the mission critical product is important for our customers. So it's not just having it working when there's no disasters or problems, but the ability for them to get out there and work when they have to put things back up is crucial for their business.
Yes, absolutely. So how would you say the needs of the utility sector different from other verticals in terms of device reliability and uptime?
Yes, utilities, they from a utility side, their customer base is so much larger in comparison to maybe some of the other verticals, right? So if something goes down within their network, it can affect tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of households and people. So having the uptime, the quality on the product is critical for them.
Absolutely. So from your perspective, how do procurement teams assess or evaluate service when they are in the process of considering a vendor to supply their technical or their tech devices?
Well, all customers are different, right? Nobody's the same. It's not really one size fits all. So some procurement could be a past experience with maybe product quality, and so that's going to be upfront. It could be around turnaround time or levels of services, and that could be the primary things they're looking for. So for Getac, we try to provide a service overall for them that meets their needs, not to make them fit into our process, but for our process to fit into theirs.
So would you say most of these enterprises rely more on the previous experience with the company that they already have or they're already working with?
But we'll really determine the things that are really important to them. So whether it be uptime of devices, whether it be the fast turnaround of the repair, whether it be accessibility to support and service, those are all critical factors no matter really who the customer is.
Right. So can you walk us through what are the different services that Getac presents or shares with its customers, from different warranty offerings, bumper to bumper, premium services, self-maintainer? We have that public information on our website, but I wanted to ask you, can you walk us through what are these different services that we offer to potential customers in the utilities sector? Yes.
Well, for our utilities customers, actually for all our customers, we offer a wide range of services that allows them to keep the asset in their possession. When you look at service, it's not just about the repair. 50% of it's really about the logistics. Right. And so for a customer that mission critical product, it's important for them to be able to keep that with them as much as possible. So Getac offers multiple service programs for our customers, from the basic technical support where they can call in, or field support if we need to go out there. But the sending the product in, we have an online service portal in which they can make the request, because we know customers, they're smart. They have a good IT department. They don't need to call us to tell us that they have a a bad hard drive. They probably ran the diagnostics on that. So what we're trying to do is give them back some of their time so they can create the RMA themselves, or they can, if it's something easy, like a non-invasive type repair, like a hard drive or keyboard, they can order the part on our self-maintainer portal, where we'll send them the part. Now, a large utility customer will forward stock that inventory to them, so they don't have to wait for the part to come in. They can do the repair right there, simple repair. So most of the parts on our self-maintainer program, they're pretty fast to swap out, say, a keyboard or a hard drive. Maybe it takes 15 minutes or less, about the same amount of time as creating an RMA to send it in and to box up and get it to the mill room. So again, it's about trying to keep the asset in their hands, and we have multiple programs to do that for them.
Right, and I think we discussed like a couple of days ago, like maybe yesterday, I don't remember, but you told me that aside from the important thing about the customer having the device in their possession, is also with regards to our service, is that we keep the turnaround time really fast. Do we have a benchmark for that?
We do. So, our in-house repair is 3 days or less. That's just our standard. So the day that we receive product counts as day one. So if the product comes in on Monday, it needs to go out on Wednesday. Now, we do offer other programs around that, which is our express care or priority care programs, which is available for an additional fee. But what that does, it allows a customer to what we call skip the queue. So if it's a priority care type service, it goes out on Monday, it has to go out the day we receive it, and that would be on Tuesday. Same day repair. So they can have their product back in as little as 48 hours.
One of the warranties that we keep on communicating to our customers and even to the general public is our bumper-to-bumper warranty. So can you tell me what's the difference between a standard warranty and our bumper-to-bumper warranty?
Oh, absolutely. So a standard warranty would be something on, say, a semi-rugged product.
Right.
So that would cover, workmanship, mechanical, or anything like that for the product for the duration of whatever the warranty is. Standard for Getac is 3 years. Now, on our bumper-to-bumper warranty, that's going to cover accidental drops, damage from the customer, right? So if a customer happened to, a utility customer up on a pole and they drop it from 40 feet high and it ends up cracking the screen, we will cover that under our warranty, under a bumper warranty. All of our rugged products, they come standard with a 30-year or 5-year bumper warranty, which is really unique in the industry, right? Most of our competition is going to charge for that no fault protection plus type of warranty. This comes standard on all our rugged devices.
So you mean to say regardless of whose fault it is, it's covered?
Correct.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great to know, because in my experience, when we do have our devices, our laptops, there is a warranty, but then if you do something to it that's not the fault of the OEM, then that's additional cost to you. But we sell them both as a package. So the utility company doesn't need to shell out extra once they, purchase the device from us and avail of our services. So we're trying to minimize the cost that they're coming up with.
That is correct, right? Getac makes great rugged devices. So why don't you have a rugged warranty to match the rugged devices?
I love that.
So that's kind of the concept around Getac, that the bumper warranty, I think, was brought into the market around 2010, right? Because when you look at our product being rugged and it's built to survive in the elements, the warranty to match is really important for our customers.
Absolutely, I agree. So we were talking about the different service programs of Getac, but can you talk a little bit more of the premium services and what can a customer expect or the benefits that they can get from such a service?
Yeah, so Getac offers a wide range of premium services for our customers. From the product side, it could be, being on utility, maybe they have critical information on the drive, so they have drive retention. They can extend out the warranty of the product from up to 5 years, maybe even longer on special occasions. So you have items like that allow them to keep their costs down, right? So most people, they have a budget and they have to maintain that budget. So buying those services up front really helps them manage that. So like a battery warranty, we know that you're probably going to need that within 5 years, a replacement on the battery. So battery warranty would also help them as well. Some of the other services we offer for those utility customers that may be a little bit smaller and their IT staff may be a little bit smaller is we offer imaging services to ensure that the product works within their environment, their software, their systems. And we can even load that image for them over at the factory or at our distributor. Also asset tagging, right? So we have services that we will use to complement their staff to give them some extra time so they don't have to do it, like inserting SIM cards for them so they don't have to do it. So when the product comes in, they can deploy it right away. We can do bundling and kitting for them. So if they have to distribute it amongst a wide area, they don't have to do that themselves.
So would you say the premium services is also customized to what the customer needs? Meaning, company one may have a different package of premium services compared to another company, is that correct?
That is true. So, they can kind of pick and choose on which that'll work best for them. So we're not going to force them into any of them, but we definitely, if they can find the value in them, which a lot of them do, they can kind of pick and choose the services that work best for them and their environment.
Right. So you mentioned the self-maintainer program as well. I know just from the word itself, self-maintainer. So if the company has their own IT team, then they would definitely do service on the device on their own if they encounter any issues. But can you talk more a little bit what comprises the self-maintainer program? Do we ship out some parts and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So, a lot of our larger customers, they prefer, well, they actually really love our self-maintainer program, right? Because otherwise you're sending in the unit for repair, right? So again, from the beginning, it's about keeping the asset in their hands. So the self-maintainer isn't where the customer is going to be replacing motherboards or cracked LCDs or anything like that, right? It's more about the small stuff that may compromise, the integrity of the product, like something as simple as a door. If a door is broken and water gets into the device, it could cause some problems. So the doors are available. So the product is always at its, prime condition for them. So the self-maintainer is really non-invasive type repair. So really something, we're not going to crack the chassis or anything like that, but it could be doors, handles, keyboards, memory, hard drives, a lot of the components that they would need to keep the product up and running. So we have an online portal for that. It's just like doing e-commerce. It has pictures of the parts for the customer to order. For our larger customers, we'll forward stock that inventory. They just have to decrement their usage and we'll auto-replenish those parts for them. So as long as we know what they're using, we can send them some more.
And usually, how long does it take for them to receive the parts? Are we as fast as sending them those parts?
We are. So remember, we're forward. So there's two models. So for a larger customer, we'd forward stock that inventory for them. So they'd have it around the time of deployment. For our smaller customers or customers that don't really have the space or really don't have the staff to monitor and manage all that, we have just in time. So they can go online, they can order 2 parts for every serial number and we'll ship it to them overnight.
Okay. So let's talk about how Getac handles support requests. So what does the typical support process look like from ticket submissions up until resolution?
Okay, well, there's multiple ways.
I think that's a long process.
It is a long, there's multiple ways for ticket submissions, right? So it's really a case. So if it's more of a technical support type of issue, we're going to communicate with the customer in the means that they prefer. So if they call us, we're going to pick up the phone and answer that. We'll create the case and the ticket for them. They send in an email, we'll respond back in an email with their case and a resolution to their issue. Now, it's a little bit different. We actually have a customer portal for even ticket submission. So they can submit in their ticket, and they can actually view where in the process that ticket is. So has it been completed? And so when they're done, or maybe they want to do a review of their tickets maybe for the year because they have to give that to their IT manager. They can look at all the tickets that were submitted from our website as well. And that's just if they call, right?
Okay.
That's a call. And then you have the whole sending in of the device, right? So that's a whole different type of ticketing system, all integrated, and they can view it themselves. It's online, 24/7. They can create their own labels. They don't have to wait for somebody to send them the labels. They could track their shipments all online. They get the repair reports online, etc.
Oh, okay. So do we also have like a turnaround time for ticket reception? Like when we receive those tickets, like how fast do we have to respond to those inquiries?
Well, so we have multiple layers of support. So we have level 1 all the way to level 3, and then we
Right.
have critical engineering and field support. So anything that comes into level 1, if they can't resolve it, they're going to transfer it into level 2 immediately. If our level 2 can't, then it's going to transfer to our level 3, which are located in our US office next to engineering to be able to support them. So if it is I'll say a basic type of issue, be resolved right away.
Right.
If it's something that is much more complex, maybe there's third-party software or hardware involved that we're trying to help them integrate, that could take longer. It could be a day or two, but the response they'll get will be usually right away.
Do we also let them know, like, when can they expect an update from us? For example, you mentioned it could probably take 2 days for like a software related issue.
Yeah, so communication is key, right? And setting expectations with the customer is just as important. So when a customer reaches out to us, whether it be our technical support or field support solution architect, the expectation is they're going to get an answer same day, and they'll have a repeat on or a follow-up the next day or the day after.
Okay, that's good to know. That's great to know. So I'm curious about the most common issues that customers would usually come to us for support. What are some of those issues that you could probably share with us?
The most complex ones, wow.
Complex or common?
Okay. Well, it's interesting because a lot of the most common ones also tend to be the most complex.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. So when you get into, say GPS uses, for utility, they may be using a CAD system, to be monitored public safety using a CAD system as well. Well, there are hundreds, maybe not hundreds, but at least tens, multiples of different CAD systems around the United States. Some have various versions as well. So helping them integrate that can be problematic, especially for those that may not be so familiar with the various, right? So if you're with one, if you've been on one hardware for a long time and now you're moving over to Getac, right, there's going to be some differences on that. And, GPS could be one of them. Common ones is, it could be something as simple as how do I use, my quick key buttons. That's a common one. How do I manage those? Can I change them? We have online manuals, and we'll walk a customer through it, right? Because they want to optimize and customize the product to work for them. So I'm going to go with quick key buttons. Programming.
All right. So you mentioned that, of course, our goal is like a really fast turnaround time, but how do we ensure that turnaround time, that we adhere to that schedule, that fast turnaround? What happens within the team?
Okay. So within the team, we do have people that monitor that daily, right? And ensuring we have a whole team on looking at if there's an issue that may prevent that unit to get back to them in that turnaround time. So Getac, when we look at, because we have a bumper-to-bumper warranty, we look at what our service rates are, and we make sure we're maintaining the inventory to deliver on that, right? Because inventory is one aspect. But through that, we also are managing the labor that is doing those repairs. So we look at that aspect as well. So there's a whole team that ensures that the repair service or the cycle turnaround time is optimized.
Okay. So we talked about making sure the turnaround time is fast and that we ensure that we communicate to our customers for any of their issues. I'm curious about our software, because we do have the Getac Essential Suite, right? And we have the Essential Utility that tells us, like, all those software is like inside the device itself, and it's helping diagnose certain issues in the device itself. Can you explain a little bit more? How does that software suite help the team to process inquiries or do support for our customers?
Well, again, so a lot of our customers are, this mission critical, especially in utilities. So the ability to monitor that the device is working optimally, identifying, early should there possibly be a problem to get that unit in and swapped out before the problem happens, not after the fact, to make sure that it's utilized. There's diagnostics within our utility suite as well, our essential suite, that allows them to also diagnose the problem right away so they can determine what they should do to fix it, whether it be sending it to Getac or maybe it's something on their side, right, to make an adjustment on.
So I love that we are proactively, working with our customers and identifying issues before they become,
Become a problem.
become a problem. So we tell them that this exists for their devices, and do they make use of that, and so that they can, be informed before something becomes a big of a problem.
Yes. So again, they want to keep the asset in their environment.
Right.
So they're going to use the tools that are available to ensure that. So the more proactive that it can be and self-monitoring, the easier it is on them to free up their time to maybe take care of other critical items that they have to do. So, between our great hardware, our great services, our great software utility suite,
Yes.
right? All these tools work together to ensure that asset stays within the utility customer's hands.
So, was there ever an instance wherein the software itself would alert us, meaning it sends a signal to us, the service team, and it alerts the team that there could be a potential problem along the way, and then we communicate that to the customer? Because I know it's normal for a customer to call us, but tell the customer that we saw something happen. We want to catch it before it.
Well, utility customers, they're considered infrastructure, right, within the United States. And so they don't want to really send that information. They don't want outside people monitoring that information, but the tools allows them to monitor that information real time. So you have an IT department or a service department that is looking at these tools at these early warnings. So, the Getac Essential Suite has all these different applications within there that allow them to monitor, to manage the device out in the field, to diagnose the problem in the field, and it gives them an early warning to decide what they need to do.
Okay, understood. So I'm curious if you can share like a real world use case about how a customer came to us and how we helped them solve their issue. Like, is there anything striking or interesting story that you have encountered throughout all your years working with Getac, and how our service really helped them to, get back out in the field and do their work?
Yes. So, our customers on the utility side, they range from small to big and all over the United States. So we have one really large utility customer that has these different groups. They have a vegetation management, trimming trees in order so the lines, they don't hit the lines and catch fire. So with that, for that particular product, just from a simple customization or identifying it, right, it could be a bright green bezel around it so they know it belongs to a certain group because it may have different software on there, right? To maybe another group that it may be in a vehicle and that may have a different type of setup on how to for their work, like that could be construction of putting up the towers or whatnot. So what we did from a service side for them is, it's handled by different groups and it's spread across the state. So we took our self-maintainer program and we ended up changing some of our hierarchy for them. So each location could see their own units, their own repairs, their own service tickets. But the guy at the headquarters can see it all, right? So the people only can see what they really want to, but the big guy can see everything.
Right.
So we did customization from our services on our site for this one customer, but because it's such a great tool, this hierarchy, we just give it to everybody. So, a lot of our best ideas come from our customers, right? And we integrate those type of services or ideas into our business models every year.
Really intrigued by that, because you said that, of course, we do get our best ideas from our customers. So would you say that our customization capabilities are helping us solve unique issues, like interesting and unique issues from our customers, because off the shelf or like standard devices won't make the cut?
Oh, absolutely. Getac, what we're trying to do is solve problems, right? And find solutions for our customers. And it could be integrating, a barcode reader into the device, or, having a third connector for them, or even putting in, older technology, because maybe it's for a tank or something like that, right? Where maybe the technology hasn't quite caught up. So Getac does that from a product side all the time, right? From a services side, whether it be within our our portals or within our programs, yeah, we will customize some of those services for our customers as well, if it makes sense.
Right. So, Derek, we've talked about our services, our service programs, how we serve our customers, and how we uniquely package our support programs to how the customer would want to have it. I am really curious, though, about how the customer see all of these efforts and what was their feedback to your team about it.
Well, we do these reviews with our customers, whether it be quarterly, biannual, annually, right, as a check-in on how our product is performing and how we're performing from service. And almost always the customers are saying how great our service is, how easy it is to use, how it's given time back to their employees to do other things, and the ability to find stuff quickly. Their answers they're looking for, whether it be for ticket support, RMA, tracking their assets back. They really seem to like it. And then our dashboard showing them exactly how we're performing, making it public and transparent to them. So they know exactly how we're performing from a product side or from a service side. And it's great because if we're performing well and during a review, it's an acknowledgement from the customer. And in the rare occasion, should we not be, then we have to come up with a plan to correct it for them.
Okay, you mentioned the dashboard, and you've shown it to me before, and I'm really excited about it. Maybe you can tell our viewers, what is this dashboard about? So if I come to you as a utility customer, am I going to be given this ability or access to this dashboard? Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, of course. So we have what we call a service dashboard that shows our performance from a service side, right? So our turnaround time, whether or not we're meeting those on a monthly basis or quarterly or a rolling 12-month, or you can look at for any years or all years. So part of our Getac's transparency to our customers on our performance, that's available to them. They don't have to call to try to get a report. It's available to them 24/7.
One of my last questions for this interview is something about looking ahead, the future of Getac service, and particularly about how you think we should bring our service programs to the future in terms of the evolving needs of our customers. So one of the hottest topics right now is AI. And I think you mentioned it to me before that you want to introduce AI to optimize your team's processes and stuff like that. Can you tell our viewers about what are your plans for the future?
Sure. So when we look at how we structure our data for support, whether it be for technical support or whether it be for RMAs and forecasting, right? So a lot of it today is, I would say, more art than science, right? So we want to use AI to help us bring more science into that art of support for our customers. So it could be wrapping AI around our knowledge base and our tickets. So for a customer, be able to look up that information. I foresee actually having the information be very specific to that customer. And whether it be for all their tickets or like type, because maybe it's a new customer that they might see, and using that as a predictive way for them to identify potential issues or solve problems that they have.
All right. With that said, thank you, Derek, for being here with us. And that's a wrap for this episode of The Rugged Edge presented by Getac. Thank you again, Derek, for gracing the show, sharing your insights and everything on what great service and support really means. So especially for teams out there in the field, keeping things running. If you'd like to learn more about our services, our rugged solutions, head over to getac.com. And while you're at it, follow us on social media to stay updated on the latest news and content. We'd also love to hear from you. Please drop your thoughts or your questions in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more episodes like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on The Rugged Edge.